Welcome to the Over 40 Alpha Podcast with your host, Funk Roberts.
We are live, and welcome to episode number 114. This is Funk Roberts, and I'm your host of the Over 40 Alpha Podcast, and I'm really excited for today's podcast episode. But let me ask you a question. Are you a man in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or beyond who is getting back into the dating scene? You know, maybe you're newly divorced. Maybe you've never had a partner and now, starting to get back into that. Maybe you haven't been married. You just transformed your body and you're ready to go. Or just maybe you want to, dip your toe into the dating world. Is that you? Because I know if it was me, I'm married, happily married, so I'm okay. But if it was me, I wouldn't even know where to start. Because when I was dating, there were no online apps. Online dating wasn't really a thing when I was dating. And it was, may have been brand new. It may have been just brand new coming out. But nothing trumped going to a bar, nothing trumped going to a club, nothing trumped going to, the beach or wherever it was where, we would look for the opposite sex, look for women, look for partners, look for people to hook up with. But now the landscape is completely different. And if you haven't been in the game for a long time, then you're going to be lost. You're going to be lost because so much has changed. But fear not, because today we've got Koen Geron, and he's going to help you learn the ins and outs, the strategies, the tips, the things not to do and what to do when it comes to dating, specifically for us guys in our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, because it's not easy. And Koen Geron, he's spent more than a decade of studying communication, psychology, how relationships work, and what makes people or a person attractive, right? Among other things. And he's become an expert when it comes to finding partners. In fact, he has an online business called Hovalo. You can go to hovalo.com, which focuses primarily on online dating, specifically for executives, entrepreneurs, creators, and professionals that find it difficult to get out there and find the relationships that they deserve. Because, if you're just coming back into the world, or you may have been divorced or what have you, you do deserve to have an incredible relationship. You deserve to have that right woman or the right partner to share your life with moving forward. But man, it is much more difficult for us guys to find the right person, specifically online, unless you have the strategies, unless you have the tips, unless you have the things that Koen is going to share with us today on this podcast episode. I'm going to tell you, this was a fantastic episode. I had so much fun talking with Koen and talking about the struggles that we will have and that we do have. So I hope you enjoy this. But also, if you are getting back in the dating world, then definitely 100% sit down, grab a piece of paper, and listen and write down some of the things that can help you be more attractive and find the woman of your dreams or the partner of your dreams online with online dating. Are you ready? See you on the other side. Get it done and enjoy the podcast.
Listen up, my brother. If you're over the age of 40, 50, 60, or beyond, and your six-pack is actually looking like a party-sized keg, then I've got a solution for you. You see, my Over 40 Alpha Workout, Nutrition, and Brotherhood program is the only program on the planet where the word dad bod is like a 4-letter word. See, we're not just a program. We're a worldwide movement of over 16,000 men just like you. But when I say just like you, I mean guys who still feel like they're 25 in their heads, but their bodies keep asking, are you sure about that? See, I created this program specifically for men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond to help burn belly fat, to help build muscle, to help improve strength, to help boost energy, to help boost that libido, and also naturally increase your testosterone levels. But aside from that, this program is also helping you regain your manhood, improve your fitness, and get you into the best health you've ever been. And with a Trust Pilot score of 4.9, we're obviously doing something right. This program's got over 36 phases. That's 3 years of progressive programming. Imagine that. You have a university-like program specifically designed for men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, just like you, that's going to help you get those results. No more wrestling with the pickle jar. No more trying to figure out what workouts to do and what program to use and stopping and starting. No more second guessing, because not only am I going to give you follow along workouts where you're going to train right beside me. Listen, we're going to sweat together. I'm going to motivate you. I'm going to guide you. And together we're going to get you in the best shape of your life. But I'm also going to hook you up with a nutrition plan specifically designed for men to help you increase your testosterone, fuel your body with the foods that will help you get in the best shape and health of your life. But also, I'll tell you when to eat, I'll tell you what to eat, and I'll tell you how much to eat, and I'll tell you the foods to stay away from. I know it sounds a little bit overwhelming, but just think about this. You're not going to have any more second guessing whether a whole pizza actually counts as one serving. Am I going to tell you a spoiler alert? It doesn't. Anyways, I'm also going to throw recovery routines like yoga and mobility, because let's face it, as we get older, as we age, getting out of bed unassisted counts as a win. Plus, I'm going to share sleep tips just to help you master the art of not snoring like a freight train and getting those 7 to 9 hours you need on a daily basis. Now, here's the cherry on top of this program. The powerful thing of this program, the Alpha Brotherhood. There's no politics, there's no religion, there's no pop culture, there's no judgment, just thousands of guys in our private Facebook group from all over the world cheering you on, helping you, guiding you, and motivating you, even while you do your birthday burpees in your living room. That's right. We actually have birthday burpees that people do on their birthday. But seriously though, listen, brother, you've been put on this earth to provide, to protect, and to procreate. And you can't do it if you're not in the best health of your life. You can't do it if your biggest exercise is lifting the remote. You have to focus on your health and your fitness for yourself, for your families, and for the people around you. So if you're ready to finally get in shape, then head over to over40alpha.com, and your journey is going to start for just $1 for the first 30 days. Yes, you heard that right. All you have to pay is $1, and you will have access to the entire program for just 30 days. You'll get that fat loss shred phase where you'll get follow along workouts. You'll also get live coaching 2 times a month with the Funkster and all the other brothers. You'll get access to the private Facebook group, and you'll get everything you need to get in the best shape of your life. And listen, after 30 days, if you don't like this program, you didn't get in the best shape, you can ask for a refund and we're clear. But I guarantee you, you are going to love this program. Go to over40alpha.com. Start today for just $1 for 30 days. There's no hidden fees, just $1. Give me that $1, give me 30 days, and I'm going to get you on your way to being in the best shape of your life. Go to over40alpha.com, over40alpha.com, sign up for $1, and I'll see you on the other side. Enjoy the podcast. We are live, and welcome to episode number 114. And in this episode, men, we are going to find you some dates. That's right. You know, one of the biggest issues, one of the biggest challenges that men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s have is, you know, if they're coming off a divorce, if they have never really had anyone, a companion, a wife, a significant other, or they're just really trying to get back into the dating world. You know, maybe they're busy at work. The challenge is we don't know all of this dating technology. I remember when I was younger, even how I met my wife, it wasn't through online dating. It wasn't through putting up a profile and figuring all that stuff out. It was going to the bars, going to different places, going out, you know, going to the fitness centers, what have you, and asking girls out, going on dates. That's how it is. But now if you're coming back into the world, it's probably a world that you're foreign to. So today I'm really excited because we have Koen Geron here from Hovalo, who's going to talk to us about dating over 40, tips for dating over 40. So Koen, thank you so much for having, it's Koen, right? Koen?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's correct.
Nice to have
Yeah,
you
awesome
here.
to be here, Funk. Thank you for the invitation. It's awesome, awesome to be on your podcast.
Thank you. So let's start with a background on how you got here. Like, how did you create Hovalo? What really a highlight of Hovalo is, but what's your background?
Yeah, my background is actually I used to do the same thing as you, Funk. Like I also used to go to the bars and just do it the all natural way and just go up to girls and talk to them. So yeah, that's my background. And um, I used to work in affiliate marketing. I used to make websites. So I would create a website informing the visitors about different products and then comparing the products and then saying like, hey, if you want the best choice, this is the best choice, and if you want the cheapest one, this is the cheapest. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I was working 60 to 80 hours, like a lot of entrepreneurs. You're super busy, and then I was living in Thailand at the time, and in my breaks, I would have these 5 minute breaks in between work sessions, and then I would go on dating apps, and I would be texting, and I was like, this is not going very well. And I was like, I'm pretty good at communication. I'm pretty good at talking with people. Yet I'm failing at online dating. Like, what is going on here? So then I realized, like, hey, there must be more people just like me who actually have the ability to talk, but even if they don't have the ability to talk, that are not succeeding with online dating. So then one of my projects wrapped up. I've just finished like creating like this big website, and was like, okay, do I want to start a new project, do the same stuff, or do I actually want to do this, which I'm actually very motivated about and inspired to take on? And then I was like, okay, like I've done the other thing enough. Like let me fix this one for myself and for other people. So that's how I started with Hovalo. First up, I needed, right, because I didn't have all the knowledge. Some people, they start and they're like an expert in their field, but like I knew some things. I was very good at talking to women in real life, but I was not the best at the online dating game. So I first spent like 6 to 12 months researching all the courses that were there, testing a lot of things out, and then I was like, okay, I feel 100% comfortable that I can do this for other people. So that's how I created Hovalo, which actually does we manage the dating profiles of other people.
Okay, so
Yeah.
man, I love all the things you said there, specifically the fact that you dug deep and did research, figured out tips, I guess tips on how to post, and tips on, things that women may be looking for or not looking for in regards to descriptions, all that stuff, which is great because when you have passion, you'll spend the time to do that, right? Like a lot of people, it's not like you just kind of like, oh, I can make a little bit of money here, so let me just dive into it. You actually lived it for 6 to 12 months. And I actually go to Thailand every single year. That's like a home away from home for us. Shalong Bay and Patong, or in Phuket, is where we usually go every single year. So
Nice.
yeah, it's very,
Nice.
it's a nice little connection there. So, there's a lot of guys. So when it comes to online dating, why would someone online date as opposed to going out? Like if I'm now back in the dating world, maybe I just got divorced and now I'm just like, oh, let me just start going to the bars. Most men are going to go back to what they used to know, right? What they used to do. Not
Yes.
going to literally just all of a sudden go to a dating because they probably don't even know where to start. So why would you go on a dating app? Why not just keep going back out and just going to the bars or clubs or
Yeah.
furniture or wherever?
Yeah. Well, what you've actually seen going on in like the last 10 years is that like less and less people actually go to these venues. So the amount of people that actually are in bars have decreased massively. And another thing that you need to consider is who are going to bars. In general, the people who go to bars are often, let's say, between 20, 25, sometimes between 25 and 30, 35, but the bars often are not full of people that are a little bit older compared to the younger people. In general, bars are a younger playing field.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily mean that does not work, because if you go to bars and you're very good at communication, that can still work very well. I never advocate against going to bars or against talking to people in real life, because that's a great way to meet people. But at the same time, if you're a busy person and you have a lot on your plate, maybe you have kids, you have a busy job, going to bars takes away a lot of your time. You are often up till late. There's often alcohol involved, which screws up with your sleep. So there's so many factors that are very working against you if you want to go towards the bar route. Like the other venues are also possible, right? Going to church or like via social circle, but The problem with that is that you're very limited. So yes, you can succeed. People still succeed. A lot of people succeed, but your pool of people that you're dealing with is very, very small. When you compare it to online dating, where you have access to almost like a large portion of all the single people in your neighborhood. So that's kind of the benefit that you're having. You're fishing in a much bigger pool when you're dealing with online dating.
Yeah, and I guess you're fishing you're actually putting, you're casting your net in a place where people are actually looking for other people. So it's not like, often when you go to different places, church, the supermarket, the dog park, not everyone's looking for a mate. Not everyone's looking for companionship. So it's like, okay, well, I don't have a lot of time. I don't have, but I still want to meet somebody. So what is the best, my best bang for my buck? So now we get online. Now listen, my sister, who I love very much, and she's my guinea pig for everything that I do in my life. She's using online dating, and so I see the guys who she brings up. Like literally, she shows me, what do you think about this guy? I'm just like, man, it's just like, because the pictures. Like, that's the big thing for me when I see the pictures, because again, we are like, if you're not a social media person, then you don't know how to take pictures. Like, if you look at my before and afters, or the guys who post pictures in my brotherhood, like at my program, no disrespect to you guys. I love all of you guys, but they're not doing like, these type of selfies to make them look. And they're just like, they just finished a workout and they're like, right? Sometimes it's from down here, sometimes from up here. And I've seen the pictures. So what are some of the issues that come up when guys start this whole, okay, let me get online and post a picture and that sort of thing? What are the things that they're gonna come up to?
Yeah. Funk, you're 100% right. And that's also, I know you like to hear that as well.
No, I like to hear.
You spotted a big problem with men's dating profiles. It's kind of like unknown territory for them. It's kind of like they go fishing for the first time, or they go into the gym for the first time, and they're standing there like, I don't know what to do. That's kind of like how it goes with a lot of people on dating profiles. Photos is the biggest problem. It's massive, and it's also like it's the biggest element that drives traffic, so to say, right? It's the biggest factor to how many matches you're going to get. Like, you can write on your bio that you're the president. You can write that you're a multimillionaire, but if your photos are bad, nobody's going to like you. It doesn't matter what it says.
I know.
Nobody's going to. Well, there's a certain part, a minor group of women might like that, but yeah, that's probably the wrong people and not the people that you want to attract.
Right.
So, yeah, photos are a big thing. So, this is actually a very interesting observation, or a very interesting fact. Women can get away with selfies, men cannot. If you're a hot girl, you can put, or a hot woman, you can put like 3 selfies on your profile, and you get tons and tons of matches. If the same quality man puts 3 selfies on their profile, it's a whole different world. Because you're supposed to show more than just your physical appearance. In general, it's better to, whenever you make a photo, to also show other things. For example, the hobbies that you're having fun with friends, that you're doing cool things, that you're on vacation. Like, you're trying to convey an emotion through your profile. Not like, it's one thing if you're like, hey, you're a decent looking person and you make a snapshot of that. But there's more things that you can add to it. The perfect example that I always use is, the best photo is if you are on a mega yacht with a celebrity like Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt is like, oh my God, so nice to meet you, Funk. If you take a snapshot of that, you have everything. You have social proof, you have success, you have that you're looking amazing, you have everything. Right. But I understand that's not going to happen very easily, right? I don't know if you, Funk, maybe you have Brad Pitt on speed dial, but I do not. So we need to do it with a little bit lower quality. Yeah, we can still make some things work.
Yeah, I watched World War Z the other day, actually, so that's as close as I got to Brad Pitt, literally. But yeah, I mean, and it's not just the picture of you, like, I'm in the fitness world. I also work with the UFC, and so I see that guys will go to these big, huge conferences or seminars, and they'll get a picture with one of the speakers, right? Like, oh, I went to this $10 million seminar. and I got a picture with, insert, speaker, you know what I mean? And it's just
Russell
that
Brunson.
the background, right? Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Russell Brunson background, and they're shaking hands. That's not the picture you're thinking of, because that picture is just like anyone can do that. There's a lineup of 300 people waiting to take that same picture. But if you're on the yacht, it's you and Brad or you and that person, and you're kind of like, hey, it's like it's more believable. Now, I'm not sure. Like for me, it's more believable when I see somebody in a natural state than when I see them in a background with like ClickFunnels in the back or whatever in the background. Some.
Yes.
But
It's also
anyways,
women will not know ClickFunnels. Like
Right,
you need
exactly.
to understand your target audience. Your target
Right.
audience will not understand it. If you're, for example, in a photo with Taylor Swift, would work
Right.
way better because they will know Taylor Swift. But
very
of
good.
course, it depends on the target audience. If your age range is women from 40 to 50, you need to target like what they are potentially interested in. But at the same time, let's be realistic. Most people are not going to have photos with celebrities on their profiles because most people just don't have access to that. And that's fine. That's okay. That's like I always just use that as like the perfect example, but we don't have to do perfect. I mean, we just want to get away with don't use selfies. And if you have a picture of the gym, make sure that somebody else takes that picture. Make sure it looks natural. Don't go into the gym and make a selfie or like a mirror shot, while doing. Don't do that. Just have your buddy and make photos. Just tell your friend who you go to the gym with, like, hey, for the next month, like every time I work out, okay, please just shoot a couple of pictures. I'm just looking for one or two. I don't look for a ton, just one or two. And out of that session, because here's the truth. Most of the time when you take photos, they're going to turn out bad. My rule is you're lucky if 1 out of 100 photos is a good photo. You're lucky if that happens. Because I've had photo shoots done by professional photographers come back and I was like, I'm not happy with any of them. None.
Yeah.
It takes some time.
Yeah, this is huge. Sorry. This is so massive, guys. Like we're laughing. I mean, I'm laughing because the reason why I'm laughing is because I have seen those exact photos that you're talking about in those, profiles. Because again, my sister will show me like, what about this guy? And then scroll through and I was like, this guy, what is happening? Like a picture of him with his dog over here. And he's taking it's huge to invest in making sure that you have the right photos for what you're doing, right? Like if I love to golf, maybe I'm gonna, picture not just me holding a golf club here. Maybe it's a picture of me actually, in the swing motion, right? Like I understand what you're saying about like showing multiple photos of you in different settings, but not you taking a picture, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Just always, you're not allowed to make your own photos
Okay.
for your day. You're not
Perfect.
allowed. That's
Not
the new
allowed.
rule.
Okay.
Another thing, another quick hack, by the way, is make sure that you wear good clothes because like we deal with clients. So we'll send clients to photo shoots and we will see all kinds of things happen from those photo shoots. But one thing that we'll see is that the client does not have fitted clothes. The client will not have clothes that make him look more attractive. Like it's nice if you wear like a black t-shirt is good for in the gym, but if you want to have a dating profile, you try to portray the best self. It's very similar to Instagram. You try to portray your best self. And like if you're very masculine, you can get away with a lot worse clothing versus if you're not masculine. Like if you don't have a lot of muscles, it's very tough to get away with like dressing down. So you need to make sure wear a shirt, wear a suit, wear something nice that people are like, hey, he's looking nice. You should get a compliment on the outfit that you're wearing during your photo shoots. You should get compliments on that. If you don't, because we've had situation where we send a client, like a nice client, and then we send him to a photo shoot, and then he comes back with photos, and the photos look nice. He looks okay. His face, expression, all those kind of things look okay. And then we see that he has a hole in his shirt or his sweater is way too big. And then I need to have to tell the client like, hey, the outfit that you were wearing, it makes the photos kind of useless. Because like you just drop down from having like a photo with the value, like we would rate it, for example, an 8. And because if you have the wrong outfit, you turn it into a 6. And then you just waste your own time, So that's something that you want to avoid. So one thing, for example, that we do for our clients, we create custom lookbooks for our clients. So we have them fill in a questionnaire and then we actually go to a web shop and like make a list of items that they can buy, different outfits. So you have a picture of an outfit, like a shirt and a pants and shoes, and you can just click and buy it. So we take away the effort because, like, guys, let's be honest, a lot of guys of us, we hate shopping. We don't like to go shopping. So we try to take that away. So, but go shopping with your sister. If you don't have that kind of stuff, go shopping with your sister, a female friend, somebody along those lines.
Yeah, another great thing that you just mentioned is the clothing, because a lot of guys, when we're just like transforming our bodies from our health from where we were before, now we're transforming our health. Now we're looking better. The clothes that we were actually used to wear don't fit anymore. But the problem is, we'll go back out and buy the same type of clothes. It's just if I liked baggy extra large shirts, and now the extra large shirt's really baggy, then I'm just going to buy a baggy large shirt, as opposed to, oh, wait a minute, I'm getting sleeker now. I'm leaner. I'm more muscular. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident. I want to now get fitted shirts, this is not fitted, but fitted t-shirts, fitted collared shirts, a nice, instead of baggy pants, it's, fitted pants. Like, when we are starting to transform and we go back out shopping, we need to shop and buy clothes that just show how, that's what I'm looking for. Like just how high level, like the levels that you're at, right? Like, your clothing is huge, right? Even if you don't have the greatest looks, if you look good and your shoes are like bang on, then man, that's going to take you to another level. So you got to throw out the 1990s and 1980s shirts. And I love, this is my favorite shirt. I used to go to the bars and I used to score. Hey man, it's 2020, it's 2023. Short shirt's not going to work anymore. So I love the fact that you guys actually do that, because it's funny. I went through a similar transition about 5 years ago, because, I used to continue to, I'm a fitness person, but my clothing, if you looked, it was just so like, just baggy, a lot of baggy stuff. And my wife is like, man, you need to change your clothing. You need to change your style. So I literally took time, went to Instagram, saw some of the, the type of clothing that the guys that looked good were wearing. And I just went out and started to just buy the clothes and create my own style that was with more sleek, slim, slim look, sleek look, all of that stuff. And it makes a massive difference, not only in the way you look, but the way people perceive you, but the way you feel. And I'm sure that probably helps with your dating profile as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. I want to ask you a question, Funk. Because this is a misunderstanding that a lot of men have. Do you find those clothes extremely uncomfortable? Because that's the biggest thing that men will bring up. They will say like, oh, if I wear something like normal pants or like suit pants, they will be like, it's so uncomfortable. Do you find like wearing a pants uncomfortable compared to like wearing sweatpants?
Great question. So that was my first, like, okay, no, I can't wear these pants, are because I have like my butt, I have a big quads and I have a little bit of a belt, a bubble butt. I'm a black guy. I got a bubble butt. So finding clothes that are slim fitted, it's like, oh, this doesn't work. It's too tight. Nah. And then, but what I did was I continued to listen. Now they're making pants that stretch. So I had to go through a, 2-month period where I had to find the right pants. And all of a sudden, when you find it and it looks good, because now I got to wear stretchy pants. The regular fit doesn't work. They have to have stretch because of my body, because I'm athletic. I want them, nice and lean and sleek, slim fit, stretch, and you find the right place. Banana Republic, that's the place I go to, because they have the clothes that fit my build, and I build around that. And once you find it, you're like, wait a minute, these feel way better than, yes, of course I like my sweatpants, but when I'm going out, I want to represent every time I walk out that door. I want to represent my name. I want to represent who I am. I want to represent my family. And so when I walk out the door, I make sure I look good. Before, I was never like that. I was, whatever. So at first, yes, but you're going to find the right clothing. That's how I look at it. Because it's out there.
Yes, I totally agree. If you find the right clothes that fit you well, and the right company that makes the stuff that fits your body well, it's not uncomfortable. Right. Like that's the thing that people say. Like, yeah, but it's not uncomfortable. No. And like at the beginning, you will feel a little bit more awkward if you're gonna dress up a little bit higher. But like if you wear something like business casual, that in general that performs extremely well with women, extremely well, and it's not uncomfortable, and it doesn't, also another important thing, it doesn't have to be expensive. You can find pants below, like you can find pants for like $50. You can find shirts for like $40, $50. You don't have to break the bank and spend $1,000 on a suit. That's not required.
Man, that's great. So, okay, what other issues so we've got the picture, we've got the clothing in the picture and some of the pictures. Let me just ask you one thing about a picture though, just one thing before we go on to the next issue. Of course, I love my abs. I want to show my abs. Am I showing my abs and my body in my picture? Yes or no?
You want an easy way to do that? The easiest way to show off your great body, because like you have an asset.
Yes.
You have something that you worked for. You have something that people like. Yet if you don't want to have the gym photos. So this is the easiest way. The easiest way is you go to the pool. You go to a swimming pool where it's totally normal that you don't wear a shirt. It will be weird if you wear a sweater at the pool. It's totally normal that you don't wear any clothes besides your shorts. So that's the easiest way to show off a great body, is make a photo at the swimming pool. Do some push-ups before or something along those lines, you know. Or you can even go as far as like not eating in the morning before the shoot, so you look even more ripped. There's tons of like methods to even make it pop more, but that's a natural environment for you to not wear a shirt. So it's often very important to figure out, okay, what would be a natural environment to show off X, Y, and Z. It doesn't make sense if you have like golf clubs in your living room. It makes sense if you have golf clubs on the golf course, right?
I love you, man. I truly do. I truly do. So I like that, because you're working so hard to change your health. You're working so hard to change your body, but you don't want to be, again, taking a picture of you sitting like in front of the mirror at the gym or at home. You know what I mean? Like you want to be in a spot where, naturally I'm at the beach, or naturally, you know, I'm at a pool or what have you. You know, get someone to take that picture of you. You know, just do some push-ups. You know, do a little abs. And, you know, crunch those abs and really, you know, obviously don't stare at the you know, photo. Maybe listen, what do I know? I'm married, so I don't know the ins and outs. But what I'm saying
it's
is
good advice. It's actually true.
You work hard, so you wanna. That is an asset. The asset is the body. Believe me. Well, you know, women still love the body, which is what I'm going to ask you here. Do women still want to see that body? Like if they see someone with a body, it's like, oh shit, this guy's 53 years old and he looks like that. What does that what does that say to a woman?
Yeah, that's a legit question. And that's actually one of the things that is very important with online dating, because right, you meet somebody at church, you meet somebody on the street, you meet somebody in a social circle, you have a conversation, you go back and forth, right? That like the amount of things that you can influence in that department is a lot. If you're good at speaking, nice. If you have good stories, nice. But people with an online dating, they will judge you on your photos. They will judge you. Is mostly, people say online dating is superficial, and that's true to an extent, because they will decide if they want to have a conversation with you purely on the photos that you have. And the photos that you have is the body that you have, the face that you have, the things that you do in order to improve your looks. So having a great body is a massive asset. It's definitely very important. Okay, so here's the thing. The worst thing is to be overweight.
Right.
If you're overweight, you just cannot do a lot, right? If you're 200 pounds, I cannot turn you into like 180 pounds. I just cannot.
But
if you're, let's say, yeah, you can.
Come to me first, then we'll take you. Then we'll send you over to Koen. That's that's a partnership here. Go on.
So that's not like, okay, so we also do editing. We edit the photos of the clients a little bit, you know? So we try to make them look a little bit better, because the reality is, if you have a great personality, the women are not going to find out until they meet you. And let's be honest, as a guy, what matters more is not your looks. Your looks don't matter that much in the overall space. Yes, let's say it matters 30%, but in the initial stage of you getting swiped left or right, it matters 90%. So in initial stage, it matters a lot. So therefore, I always think that it's a little bit more ethical to catfish as a guy than as a girl. Because if you catfish as a girl and you show up on a date and you're like 50 pounds heavier, then it's like, whoa. That's a no-go for the guy.
Right.
But if the guy comes on and is, let's say, 20 pounds heavier compared to the photos,
right,
or, you know?
Yeah, I think you know, like again, my sister, she's definitely been catfish, because what happens is the guy will show the picture of them 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yes.
Right. And now it's totally different. And that frustrates. So my advice would be, like, you want to get into the best shape you can, right? Even if you're 20 pounds overweight, that's where your clothes come in. That's where the clothes come in, right? Like, you don't have to show your body, but the clothes fitting well, not fitting frumpy. That's when it comes in. And then your profile, which is the next thing I wanted to, the last question we'll talk about is, and this is just a question for you. Do you think that women in their 50s and 60s and late 40s appreciate the body more than women in their 20s and 30s? Because I keep hearing things like that. Women in their younger women don't really they don't really care about the guys who are ripped, because they're just kind of new in the space. But as you get older in your 40s, 50s, 60s, you may have been divorced already. You may have gone down this path. Maybe your husband that you had before was out of not in shape, didn't care about their health. And so, like, there are certain things that you won't compromise when you're older than you would when you're younger. Because when you're younger, you just don't know. You're just looking, I don't know, I'm just gonna date everybody and see what I like. But when you're older, you're like, this is not, I'm not going for this. I'm not going for this. So if an older woman sees a body that looks like, oh man, this guy's 52 and his body's like this, is that going to intrigue them more? It's just a general question.
Yes, this is an interesting question. And so here's what my opinion about it is. So women when they're younger, women are more superficial. So women will, because they often would not necessarily date to get into relationships. If you have a woman that's, let's say, 20 to 25, they would just be like, oh, I'm just dating to just get around, right?
Right.
They will not necessarily be marriage orientated. Yet, here's the kicker. When you are older, when you are 40, 50, 60, how many men that age are in shape?
Right.
Not that many.
No.
So if you have the ability to actually be in great shape, you're like a unicorn. You stand out so much between all the other fat people. You're like, bang, look at me, know?
Right. No,
which compared to when you're younger, a lot of younger guys, like I'm 30, for me, it's a lot easier to stay fit compared to when somebody is older. So you stand out so much more, and the value that it portrays is so much higher. The fact that you have that ability, that discipline to get to the gym, to make sure that you look good, that's worth a lot, because the woman will see that and she will think like, hey, this guy has discipline. This guy has his mind right. This guy has the ability to invest into his health, into his future, into the things that he cares about. So it's a very strong signal that that person is a high value person.
Love it. Now let's get to the description, right?
Yes.
Is that in here? Okay.
Yes.
Tell me about the description.
Yes.
Tell us. Preach.
Yeah, so, okay. 77% of women have rejected men with crude sexual content on their profile. So one thing that some men, a portion of men, let's call it 20 to 30%, they will have sexual remarks on their profile. And there's nothing worse than mentioning any sexual things on your dating profile. 100% stay away from that, because that will make sure you get swiped left. This will make sure that women will not match you, because you want to stay away from that, because there's a lot of guys on the dating profiles or in the dating websites and the dating apps that are looking for purely short-term fun. So if you have anything like that, a lot of women will get red signals and they will think like, whoa, this is not cool. So that's something that you need to highly stay away from. Another thing that you will see a lot is, right, let's say you're 40, let's say you're 50 years old, right? You've had a marriage before, you divorce, all that kind of stuff. You meet a couple of women while you're dating. You have some good experience and some bad, right? And the older you get, probably the more bad experiences you get and the more dates you have, etc. This will make you a little bit cynical. This will make you a little bit like, I didn't like that. And then you're like, the other date, didn't like this. The worst thing that you can do is go on your dating profile and says, I don't want X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z, X, Y. The worst thing you can do is become some sort of like negative pumpkin that is just making a giant list of all the things she should not do. And if she does them, you will immediately kick her out.
Right.
Stay positive. Dating profiles is for positivity. You might have preferences. Everybody has. You should have preferences. But make sure that you don't become too negative on your dating profile, because that's something that we will see a lot within people's profiles, and it's something that if you read it as like a neutral person or a positive person, you come across a profile that's very negative, you're like, this sounds like this person is sad. I don't want to date a sad person.
I love it, man. That's huge because listen, I'm loving this. So the fact that you have to have some type of, kind of boundaries, or, like preferences, boundaries, things that you are looking for, not looking for, etc. For sure. But also when you're going into a new relationship, specifically from what has happened before, you can't bring what's happened from that old person into this new venture, because you're always going to be tarnished, right? Like, you know what I mean? And so we all know that with any relationship, in order for it to work, are going to need to compromise. You are going to have to compromise and have to build yourself up so that my wife, like, so for me, for instance, like I do so many things in my life that will make it impossible for my wife to leave me. Like if my wife leaves me for whatever reason is, I'm so incredible that if she's not gonna find anyone else like me ever, anywhere. But I had to change some of the things I did in order to get there. And she does the same thing. So we are gonna have to compromise at some point. But I believe exactly what you're saying. It's not the time to do all that stuff, because not when you're looking for certain people, right? You got to let people come in. You got to date again. You got to figure out, okay, oh yeah, okay. And you have also changed probably as a man from before. You've learned things from before. You're probably a little bit more tolerable than before, open-minded than before. You know what I mean? Like, so if you keep bringing things from your past and then putting it on your profile, man, it's not going to be good. I think I read one of my sister's profile, and that was a red flag for her. She still went on the day, but it was a red flag. I can't remember what he said something about X, like talking about the ex or something. It's like, oh, dude, you're talking about your ex-wife? Then come on, man. What are you talking about? Well, why is that even in this conversation? Yes. You know,
that's actually also something that I want to make a note about. Whenever you date somebody, what's extremely important is how do they talk about their ex? Because I've had multiple exes, and in general, I'm always very kind about my exes. Even though, for example, when I was 20 years old, my ex dumped me for my best friend. So at that same day, I lost my girlfriend and I lost my best friend, because I was like, how the heck am I? And that was one of my only friends that I had at the time. So one day, like, my whole world collapsed, because I was like, what am I supposed to do in this situation? Now, okay, we're a couple of years later. I have all but love for her. Like, she's an amazing person, and I fully understand why she did that. And even at the time, I understood why she did that. Now, do I think it's a great action from her? Do I think she's a noble person? Hell no. Like, no, it was not a great move from her end, you know? Like, she apologized and all that kind of stuff. But I would never go to the route of like, oh, she was such a horrible person, X, Y, and Z, because when you're in a relationship, two people create a certain situation. And if you are the person like, oh, my ex was so horrible because of all the things that she did, well, you probably did some things wrong as well. Because if you were the perfect partner, no way in hell that she would be doing those kind of things.
100%. I agree 1,000,000%. So in that description, what type of things are you putting in there?
Okay, so we're trying to attract people. We're trying to convince people in a lighter form, right? We're trying to attract the right type of people, but we're trying to convince them as well a little bit that they should go on a date with you. So one of the things that you should do is portray the values that you have on your dating profile. So you want to state the things that make you a desirable person, because there's nothing worse than listing a whole list of things that other people don't really care about.
Right.
So certain things you don't want to mention if you're into it and your target audience is definitely not into it, it might not make a lot of sense to mention it. Besides that, so that's the value part. So you want to portray certain value. So you want to note down the things that you've achieved, the things that you've done, the things that make you the person you are. If you lost a lot of weight, you can mention that. If you run a business, you can mention that. If you help out in a shelter, you can mention that. So you kind of want to portray the things that make you a desirable person. Now, on top of that, what's very important is the way that you phrase it. Because, for example, you can just say that you're a cook, for example, that you're a chef and you work in the kitchen. That's one thing. But you can also phrase it like, my expertise is making culinary dishes that will melt on your mouth once you taste them.
I want to marry.
Now, if you write it down, she'll see a picture. She'll be like, "Ooh, I want that.
Right.
I want to have food that melts in my mouth." She can already envision, like, "Hey, if I'm with this guy and he makes amazing food, I'm gonna be so happy." By the way, women love food. If you didn't notice, so that's a big thing, right? So the way that you portray the values that you have is also very important. It's like, how do you do the storytelling around the values that you have? Because saying it plain like, hey, I do X, Y, and Z is boring. Make a story around it. Say it in a romantic way. Say it in a way that the other person envisions that you with that person. Those are important things when noting down the values that you have.
Well, I love that. Again, I always say this. I always say love in all my podcasts, but I do. I'm just that is amazing that you say that, because it is like, it's like, when I'm going to go back to my sales page days, in a sales page, I can say, oh, this workout program, you got to lose 20 pounds, you get this and that. But no, you got to create a story around it, and it's got to be compelling. And that's the same thing with yourself. You have so many skills and assets and values that a lot of women are going to love. But the way you say it is huge, because remember, you only have one time to make a first impression, right? So the person's looking at your profile, and if it's boring, it's gone. Now imagine if that person actually did love a cook, and did love someone who went to the gym and whatever, and did love these things, but now she's going through the third or fourth person and she sees you and nothing jumps out at her, right? But she actually does love the cook. She loves every value that you have, but you're just, because it's the fifth or sixth or seventh person and she's fatigued and nothing's coming out. Imagine if she sees you got everything, same, and then clicks. But if she sees you and all of a sudden, just like Koen said, like, I'm a culinary king, which cooks food that will melt your plate. It's like, oh, wait a minute. All of a sudden she's waking up and she's reading it. So I think it's very, like you said, I think it's huge to like get a copywriter to write your description.
Yeah, just make sure you write it a couple of times.
Right.
Write a couple of versions. You can even use ChatGPT to write you a couple of versions, and just pick one of those versions that you think like, hey, this clicks and this makes sense. And to cover your point about women scrolling through profiles, 54% of women felt overwhelmed with the amount of matches that they're getting.
Right.
So the average woman will get between 10 and 50 times the amount of matches that men will get. If a woman is like a 6, she will get the same amount of matches as a guy that's like an 8.5, 9. It's unbelievable the difference that's there. So for that reason, you need to make sure that you make a banger impression. And one thing that I see very often is that people get butthurt about their profile. They kind of get like, how do you say it? You feel rejected, if something doesn't work out, you feel like you're not good enough. One thing to always remember is you are not your dating profile and you are not your dating conversations. Like the messages you send back and forth, that's not really how you are. There's such a big difference between how somebody's online persona is versus how somebody is in real life. Those often don't match up because the only thing that you have is some words on a screen. That's the only medium of communication. Well, they always say like over 85% of communication is the way that you talk and the way that your body moves. You just cut all of that out. So the only thing that you have is some words on the screen. And if you're tired, those words will become worse. And if you don't have a lot of time, those words will become even worse, right? So there's so many reasons for your online persona, so to say, and your online avatar to just not be amazing, and it has nothing to do with who you are as a person. Because the reality is there's a large percentage of guys, 64% of men said they felt insecure because of the lack of messages. Right. 64%. There's more than half of the men that feel negative around online dating. I meet tons of people that feel depressed regarding online dating, not getting any success. So you have nice people who are just not able to find the partners and not able to get any matches, not able to get any dates, purely because their profile is not optimized. They don't know how to do the texting. They don't know how to do all these things. It's sad, to be honest. Like I'm very passionate about it because it's a very sad thing that you're dealing with people who are. It's hard to express yourself and it's hard to know all those things regarding online dating. But yeah,
And imagine
it's a requirement.
Yeah, and imagine if you just come out of a divorce or something really negative, or and you want to get back into the dating world, and you feel like, okay, I got into great shape. I'm feeling much better about myself. I've got my confidence is back. Then you yourself go through and put your dating profile up, and you're not getting anything. That can click you right back into the depression you were in before, or the state you were in before. So I think that, like you said, it's very important to invest in your dating. I think you have to invest in your online dating, because listen, guys, we don't know this world. Okay, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, we don't know this world. It's very foreign to us. We don't know how to navigate it. And we can't just jump in there without having some type of, you may have to go to a class, you may have to use a service, but as you are using these services or going through classes, you also have to learn, and you also have to, just like Koen said, like, I think he said something great where like the percentage of men versus the percentage of men that women get versus the percentage of women that men get. If you go in with that understanding, you already know, okay, listen, I'm going to put this out there, but I'm not going to be getting 2,000, you know what I mean? And then I guess you always have to keep updating it. Is that correct? Until you get that match, like almost like split testing your description, your profile. Is that what we're doing here with our own profiles?
Yeah, so it's always good to keep it as like an ongoing project. It's also, dating apps in general prefer up-to-date profiles. So they prefer profiles that get updated now and then. So make sure that like you try to get new photos. Like you don't have to like revamp your whole profile, but try to constantly introduce new photos. Another thing I want to mention, which is extremely important because this will ruin your chances. The rule regarding photos is that your worst photo counts. So if you have 3 amazing photos that we would rate a 9 and 9, and the fourth photo is a 6, women will reject you because they will think you're a 6.
Right.
Same goes the other way around. If you find a profile of a woman and you see like, oh, she looks super hot, she looks obese. You will not remember those first photos. If you see another photo where she just gained 100 pounds, right? You will not remember that photo. You will swipe her away. The same goes for you. So you may need to make sure that the amount of photos you have are all kind of in the same league with each other. You cannot have like very good photos and then some photos that are very bad, because that will just ruin your chances.
So, okay, so now that I have I have good photos, I've got a great description. What are the other things that I need to know about with these online dating apps and that sort of thing?
After you've got a great profile and photos, then you get matches, right? Okay. That's the ideal goal. For photos, by the way, get photo shoots, because that's the most important. That will help you the most. Yeah. And then you get texting. So that's another point where a lot can go wrong. Texting requires time. So the average online dating user spends 45 hours per month on online dating apps. Wow. 45 hours.
That is huge. That's insane.
It is.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Would you call or text? Like if you first get that text and what have you, would you engage in a conversation through a phone call, or would you continue to go back and forth in texting?
Phone calls are good.
Okay.
Phone calls work very well to analyze like, hey, is there a click? Yes or no? You can even do video calls.
Yes.
Note that don't put in a ton of effort on your photos and then have a video call with horrible lighting and you're wearing a sweatpants. Make sure that you keep up persona.
Right.
But yeah, calls are amazing because you're able to like analyze like, hey, do I level with this person? So we will have clients that like we get the number from the girl and the client would just have a call with them, because the client is like, hey, listen, I make like $10,000 an hour. No way in hell I'm going to spend 2 hours meeting this person if I don't think this is the right fit, right? Sure. It doesn't make any sense for the client to take that risk of driving somewhere, spending so much time, if you can just have like 15 to 30 minute call and analyze like, hey, do I have a click? Does she say anything that's very weird? How many red flags are ringing? Because those are the things that you want to take into consideration when you're having the call. Like, do that. And then another way is, write down some topics for yourself that you want to talk about. So when you have that call, you're like, okay, let me talk about point A, B, and C. Maybe analyze like, hey, let me talk about a story. So you don't have to constantly come up with all of this on your own, because this will just take effort, and we want to minimize the amount of effort that you put in. So write down, okay, these are 3 stories that you can potentially talk about, and then whenever you have the call, talk about one of those 3 stories. Over time, you will also notice that you get better at those stories. So the storytelling that you're doing in your bio, you will get better at storytelling during your dates, during your calls, during other activities. That's important, because that will make the other person more interested in you.
Sure.
If you tell her like, oh, blah, 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 that's boring. So because like you have practice, right? It's just like Toastmasters. With Toastmasters, you learn a speech. At a certain level, you learn a speech and you do the speech 10 times. The reason for that is that the speech is supposed to become better. Same story with dating. You have a certain routine, like, hey, I want to highlight these kind of things that I like about myself. I want to ask her these kind of questions. Go to the routine, improve the routine.
Yeah, that's, man, like, I just, like, I don't think I could survive in the online dating world. It's just too much work. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like the fact that the phone calls are huge, because I do not like texting back and forth. In fact, I call people. I can't do the texting back and forth. Like this morning, I was going back and forth with a friend. He's asking me about this new supplement that I sent him, and how do I take this, and what do I do with this, and what if I did? And it's going back and forth the text. I was like, hey man, I called him like, listen, I can't do the texting, man. Like, you're like, just listen to me. I'm gonna say it once and that's it. You know, that's better for me than. But I guess other people like texting and what have you. So okay,
Yes.
so the conversation starts. You start to, you know, and I'm assuming that, you know, some are gonna bomb, some are gonna be great. You know, like that. Even if the woman looks so amazing, and then you get on that call and maybe you said the wrong thing, like. It's almost like Seinfeld. I don't know if you know that show Seinfeld, but like George Costanza would have
Great
like,
show, great show.
George would have like his apple. I gotta have my apple when I'm on the call. I gotta have everything written out. Sometimes you gotta do that to get in a comfortable space. I'm assuming, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a big thing, you know, like, because we have had one of our clients. He was an analyst, so he was very analytical brain, not very social. Like he had some friends, but like not a super social who always around girls. And he had maybe like 2 girlfriends in his whole life, and he was like mid-30s, early 40s. He didn't have any success with online dating. We got him on board, and then he started to have dates. Like he got like 1 to 2 dates every week. Now, let me tell you, the first couple of dates didn't went that well.
Right.
And that's perfectly fine, you know. That's expected. Like in the beginning, when you start to get back in this market, relax. It will come. Things will get better. You don't need to find 100 women. You just need to find one that fits you very well. But in the meantime, you need to practice and get a little bit more comfortable. The first date that you will go on, you will be super nervous. You will be like, oh my God, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? I don't want to be here. I'm sweating. I don't like this. That will be your first, yes. That will be your first date, and that's okay. That's totally fine. You'll get through this, and then after that, there's the next one, and then gradually you'll get better. Gradually, the anxiety lowers. You get more comfortable. Yeah.
Just like everything, I think that's huge. Yeah, the first date it's so difficult. So what are some of the platforms that are out there for older folks so that they don't get so they don't get swallowed in, like, you know, all the other things? Like, are there ones that are specifically say, okay, listen, if you're over 40, 50, 60 or 70, these are the ones I would start with. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these are the ones I would start with because these are the people these are your people, as opposed to like going on Tinder. Like, I mean, I don't know if Tinder would be good for a 55-year-old guy who's trying to, you know, get back in the dating world, but maybe, I don't know, because I haven't ever used it. It was never a thing for me. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so there are some like very hyper niched down websites. They often require quite an expensive subscription, because their whole model is like, hey, we're going to niche down and we're going to try to connect these people. The only downside is, so previously Match.com was a very big player, but the years went past and more people were attracted to like the average dating app. So the average like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, those are like the 3 biggest biggest dating apps, and more people, because everybody's on their smartphone. Match was mostly like a website. Everybody's on a smartphone. You just install the app. It's super easy. You just upload some pictures and you're done. So that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the number of older generation that gets onto those apps that has skyrocketed because it's the biggest app. That's what everybody talks about. That's where all the marketing budget is going. So a lot of those, and then Tinder is often more related to hookup, and Bumble and Hinge, those are often the more serious apps.
Okay.
So in general, I would recommend Bumble to try out.
Okay.
Just start on Bumble. I think it overtaken Tinder in size. So there's just more people. It's more serious as well. You can upload a little bit more things.
Okay.
Has a couple more features. So there are also niche websites, but often people succeed just fine with dating apps because the volume is just so high. Another thing that I want to mention is if you're an older guy, let's say you're 45, 50, it doesn't mean that you have to date with women that are 45, 50. Yeah. There's like a large part, 57% of singles are okay with an age gap of 10 years and larger.
Okay.
So a lot of people have had older men. Older men, that's not bad. And one of the reasons that emotional maturity and financial stability are very important for women. And men, we are a little bit slow in that department. Let's be honest. We are just a little bit slow. And it has benefits and side effects. The benefits is if you're older now, you can potentially move into the market that's 10 years younger and still succeed. Right. We have a client that's in his 40s who gets matches with 30-year-old women that are smoking hot.
Right.
that you think like, no way this is a match.
Right.
But it is. That's possible nowadays because often those women, for example, they would want to settle down, they would want to have children, all those kind of stuff. They look for financial stability, and then the guys who are 30, they're just still running around, doing all kinds of fun things, not wanting to commit, and just like children, I don't know what children are, So they are not totally focused on that market. So realize that you have the ability to go a little bit younger in that aspect.
Yeah, that's very important actually, because what you just said there was huge. Let's just talk about the 30-year-old woman, who's the 30-year-old woman who is ready to settle down, who's ready to have kids. You're just 45. Once again, you've transformed your body, you've transformed your health, you're feeling better, you have more testosterone going through your body, which means you're healthier and able to have children, you have more energy, you have a great job. And because you're 45, you think maybe I'll just look for women who are 45 plus. But in essence, if you're looking good, you've got that transformation picture, you've got, you've got a great job, or you've run a business or what have you, you have stability, and you have a new mindset of like, yes, I'm put on this earth to provide, to protect, and to procreate. And I haven't had a chance to do that because for the first 39 years of my life, I've been doing this, but now I'm ready. I'm 45 now. Let me look for a 30-year-old because I have the looks, the new mindset and everything else. So yeah, when you have that, I think it's great, but don't get it twisted. I'm just saying this on my own. If you don't have a lot of that stuff and you still think you can get a 30-year-old or whatever, maybe you just have the money, but you don't have all the other stuff. You don't have the mindset of, oh, wait a minute, I got to provide, protect, procreate, but I'm 40, 50 pounds, 60 pounds heavier. That's because I have a business and I make all this money, but I don't take care of myself. I don't take care of my health. Maybe I've got a little bit of erectile dysfunction, so I got to use these pills. And then you score a 30-year-old woman. She's expecting someone who's going to keep up with her, who's going to love, or else, and who's going to look good, or else she's going to go somewhere else. And it's just not going to be a good experience. So I think you have to know your lane. That's my advice. Know where the lane you're in because it'll make things much easier after you get somebody. Right? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that's 100% true. Because
I'm sure
you need to be
that.
realistic, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're a successful guy, like people will be on the lookout for you, and women as well. So with the whole like sugar dating has become bigger and bigger nowadays. On different platforms, there are separate platforms like Seeking that are purely sugar dating related.
Right.
So. Yeah, so if you're able to do that, like I'm 100% sure that if I was 50, I could get a 25-year-old and everything will be fine. I'm 100%, but I also know people that are in their 50s who want to date women in their 30s, and I'm like, but you don't have the things to back it up. You don't, just like you said, you don't have those, you cannot, she's just after your money.
Totally.
If you match with those women and you don't have like, if you don't have the alpha mindset and you don't have the ability to kind of like conquer her, saying it in a friendly way, to drive the family and to like drive everything forward, then she's just there to make sure that your wallet stays open. And then you can also be sure that once you're going off to work or once you're not around, she'll be doing other stuff with other people.
She's going
that will not be a relationship that you will be very happy about.
Exactly. Like her personal trainer, Winston's coming to your house, training her. He's jacked. Okay. Yep. Winston is jacked. You don't want your wife having to go get personal trained by Winston. Say that right now. Oh, no, that's good. So, okay.
Yeah, it's also,
keep going.
One thing that you will also notice, even if you're able to get her, she will withdraw slowly.
Right.
Because she doesn't respect you. She will respect you. The money that you have, and that's the only thing that she will respect about you. Totally. So she will get your money, and in the beginning it seems nice, but after a while, the sexual intimacy is going to fade away. Like
Totally.
you'll see that a lot with people who are into the sugar dating, because the novelty goes away. She's like, okay, I have all these things, so the money is worth a lot in the beginning. Once she has 10 Gucci bags, it's like, I don't care. The money it goes away. So then it's like, okay, so what else are you gonna offer? Nothing? Okay, so then the next time you can expect intimacy is on your birthday next year. Good luck.
No doubt. So let me ask you a question about, you still have time? Okay, let me ask you a question about dating shows. Because do you think if I'm new to dating and I'm new to getting all this, and I'm starting to get my stuff on online, watching dating shows, would that give me a little bit of insight of what, like, you know what I mean, what to look for, what not to do? You know what I mean? There's tons of dating shows out there. There's tons, 90 Day Fiance, all of those things. You see the car wrecks that happen or the train wrecks, but you also see some amazing connections, believe me. Do you think that would be something just to get your mind into that dating world, watching those shows?
You can analyze people's behavior. So if you want to get good at communication, if you want to get good at understanding people, what you need to do is watch people. So if your vice is to watch people on a show like that, nice, great job. See why contestants are doing a good job. See why is this working. Like when I was 20 years old, I saw in front of my eyes why my friend's game was working, because he was discrediting me on purpose. So he was like, oh yeah, Koen, you're kind of like a shithead, this, that. And I was like, why is he doing that? And then later I know exactly why he was doing that. So analyze what's going on in this scenario. You can also do this in social settings, like see who is the dominant person, which females is attracted to which males, and what is the reason for that? Is it because they have similar interests? Is the way that they talk? So you try to understand those things. That's a very good thing. But besides that, the problem with those shows is often it's TV.
Yeah.
Things need to have more drama. Things need to be like bang. Like on TV, a lot of things are
it's not real.
Fake.
They're just showing they're not real.
Yes.
I totally understand.
Yes.
So what other tips can you give us just in the online dating world? Just as we
Yeah, I think it's very important that you see it as like a process that is just gonna take a while, right? Like Funk, you like know it yourself. You need to transform your body. That takes a while. If somebody comes to you like, hey, so I was thinking 6-pack next week. How's that? How does that sound? Sounds like a good. No, it takes longer.
Next year?
Oh my God. That's the reality. Like good things take time. Like the same with dating profile. A good dating profile takes time to create. It takes effort, it takes energy, potentially money. It takes investment from your side. That's the reality. But at the end of the day, it gives you a massive amount of happiness. Like think about like, this is one thing I find very interesting. You will have people invest, let's say, 50,000 into a car. And then they're like, so how much did you invest in your health last year? They're like, nothing.
Hey,
and don't you think you would get a little bit more happiness from like losing weight and feeling stronger and becoming stronger versus having that $50,000 car? Same with online dating. Like a lot of people are shy away from investing money. I'm like, what's a better investment? A car or a potential partner that you get stuck with for the next 30 years? Like if I was I'm like, I think it makes a lot of sense to invest into something that you have to talk to like 30 years. So it's also one of the things is once you have it, right? Like once you have a good dating profile, it's set. Once you learn a little bit what to do, you're set. It's a skill that will stay with you for the rest of your life, and also a skill that you can leverage for different areas. A great photos, you can leverage that for LinkedIn as well. You can leverage that for looking cool online as well. So you can leverage it for different elements.
Love it. And so what is Hovalo? Talk to me about that. What type of service is it? Because that's what you own. You own this company. Tell me about the company. Tell us how we can use that company and be successful.
Yeah, so we try to do as much as possible when it comes to that whole process. So just like we just discussed, it's quite a lengthy process and you kind of need some knowledge. So we do a lot of things. We analyze your dating profile. We analyze the photos that you have. We find a photographer for you. We edit the photos on a specific way that works for attractiveness levels. We test those photos, so we get scores on like how attractive is a certain photos. We don't like make you into like a model or anything like that, but we try to change like 5% on each section. Maybe change 5% jawline, maybe she beard 5% better, maybe nose 5%. My nose is not 100% straight, but in all my pictures, it is 100% straight.
Right.
And it's not a big deal for women often. That's like because we try to make minor adjustments. We don't try to make a giant overall, minor adjustments that overall create a lot better picture.
Wow.
And then we help clients with fashion advice, because like that happens before the photo shoot. So they have the right clothes on the photo shoots, so the results are good. So we help them set up their profile. So that's the profile side of things. Then the profile is good. Then matches come in. Once matches come in, you still need to have all the time to match people, to do the texting back and forth. That takes a long time. So that's the next thing that we do. We take over the whole process, texting process for them. So first we would go into your dating apps and we would analyze like, hey, what messages are you sending? Then I'll analyze like, okay, these are the mistakes that you're making and these are good things that you're making. I'll be able to emulate the style that you have. I will be able to like portray that for you. So instead of you having to spend 45 hours per month on the dating apps, texting back and forth, matching with all those people, we're able to do that for you. Now, we make sure that it's ethical, we make sure that it's done right, we make sure that like you're portrayed in the way that you are. But if your hobbies are golf and going to the gym, what benefit does it have for you to tell it to 100 different people or I tell it to 100 different people?
Right.
There's no benefit. The end result is the same. Plus, your online avatar, what we discussed prior, is not really you anyway. Right. Those women are also different from how they are in real life. They might portray that they're so amazing, but they're probably not. So that's the reality. So then we send over the numbers. Clients can have a call with them or set up a date directly. So we try to take away the whole process for them. And then once they go on a date, we'll tell them like, hey, have these dates. Don't go on dinner. Giant disclaimer, don't go to dinner, have drinks somewhere, go for a coffee, go walking, do something active, but don't sit still in front of each other for 1.5 hours, because that puts a lot of pressure on the conversation. That's not something you want. Also, cinemas also don't do that. Okay, back to what we do. So we optimize the things that they should do on dates. We are like, okay, here, these are the things that you want to highlight during your dates. These are the type of questions that you want to ask her. And that's it. Then if things work out, they get into relationships. Wow. Like we had a client of ours got married last month. Like that's the best thing that we can do, you know. Like people sacrifice so much in their life, and then we're able to help them fix a part of their life, which is very important in finding the love of their life.
100%. So do you just work with men, or do you work with both men and women?
We work with both men and women, but it's mostly men, because often men, it's so much harder for men. Because like if you go into female side of things, you're more focused on screening guys out. You're screening the things that we discussed, like, hey, which guy is serious, which guy is not serious, right? Like which guy would be a good match, because the volume of matches that women would have is just massive.
Right.
So you would just have to go back and forth, analyze which is the right fit, yes or no.
And you talked about entrepreneurs. Do you work with a certain group type of men, or can any man kind of do like
any man can sign up, but like the reality is it's like our service requires a lot of effort from our side of things. Like we don't work with automated things. Like we have real people doing the texting for you. We have real people editing the photos. Like there's a lot of time investment from our part. So what I also always think, like, hey, if you're not super busy, learn everything yourself, because it's very valuable to learn everything yourself.
Sure.
But just like me back in the days, and just like a lot of other professionals, entrepreneurs, people who are very busy and very serious about their work, it makes a lot more sense for those people if you calculate time-wise, like, hey, this actually makes a lot of sense to outsource this. Because if you're worth, let's say, $50 an hour, and you times that 45, then you have like 2,250. So you have more than $2,000 that you're spending on online dating, and you're not even getting the best results, right? So that's the reality. And that's when you only have an income of like $50 an hour. We have clients that have incomes of thousands of dollars an hour, which makes it such a no-brainer for them, because they're like, I save so much time on this. I get so much better results. This is like life-saving for me.
Have you ever thought about making a course? Or do you have a course? Like an online
we
course?
We have a course for like how to do the texting part, because like it talks about the profile as well, and the texting. Like those are the main important elements, because texting is, you need to learn a little bit how the texting works. It's a requirement, and but the worst part is like time investment on that side.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah, you need to have the time investment to
do that. Yeah, like I said, I the texting part is out for me. It's you know, like, I like the fact that you do have that course, because if someone doesn't have the money, but they still really want to be able to learn how to do stuff, they can still stay in your environment. And then if after a while it's like, you know what, maybe I need to invest. Like, I've learned here and I'm doing some things, but I just need that little extra help as I continue to change my life and my, you know, my health. I'm feeling better. You know, I'm even looking better now than I did when I first started with Hovalo's course, or, you know, Koen's course. So now I want to invest. So it may not be something you do at the beginning, but you transition in there. But I think everything you've said today really makes sense. And the fact that you work a lot with men, the fact that you know the struggles that men have when using online dating, and the fact that when you're older, you don't have the experience of using online dating. I met my wife when I was 39 or 4, I think I was 40 years old, but I met her at a club, and I didn't even want to marry anybody, because just before that, the girl that I was dating literally left me because I had no sex drive, because my testosterone levels were low. So I walked in the house and she literally said, I'm gone because we're not having sex. So that just took me down a very dark path, because I felt my manhood was kind of taken away. So I ended up going to strip joints, going after hours, doing drugs, partying, because I thought that was going to cure everything. And then I also said, you know what? I'm never going to get married. I'm just going to be like George, because George Clooney at the time was not married, and he said he would never get married. So I'm just going to live the George Clooney life. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to go date and do whatever I need to do whenever I want. I'm not going to have that tie. But I'm here at a club, I'm dancing, and this girl comes up to me. It's like, hey, oh my God, you're Funk Roberts. I do your workouts. I do your program, what have you. I'm like, oh my God, you know, because I'm just like, I get excited when I meet people who do my thing. I'm not like, oh, who are you? I'm like, oh my God. So we're hugging. And then the girl's sister kind of pushes her away and we start talking. And so that night, that was Angela. And Angela had said, so for, I guess, 3 months prior or 2 months prior, she was like almost stalking me on Facebook. She saw like, oh my God, this guy does Muay Thai. I do Muay Thai. Oh my God, this guy went to Thailand. I don't go to Thailand. Oh my God, this guy's a fitness guy. I love fitness. So she was leaving comments on my Facebook, but I don't look at the comments or whatever. And then we met each other like out of the blue. And so from that day, I told her, you are going to be my wife. And just from that day on, you know, we got married the year after, and it's been 12 years since. But that's what I know. You know what I mean? I don't know freaking online dating. So if we broke up now and I had to do online dating, I'm coming to you, because I don't know what to do, and I don't want to waste my time. And you know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to learn the skills that I need, specifically with all those stats, you know, like just think about this, guys, like the amount of matches women get versus men, like you're like barely getting anything, right? And then if you don't do if you don't do the right thing, you're screwed. You know what I mean? Like, you're screwed. Or you're not screwed. Sorry. I'm just talking in the online world, because you could still go out and do other things, but it may be a little bit more difficult. But who knows? I don't know. I'm glad I'm not in that world. That's for sure. I'm glad I'm not. I'm glad I have a wife.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. So where can people see you, get this information? Just get, where can people get to you and Hovalo or your company?
Yeah, if they want to learn more, they can go to hovalo.com, HOVALO.com. We have a YouTube channel as well where we have some videos about it. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on most platforms. So
Same thing,
you can
Hovalo?
find us there. Yes. On Instagram is Dating Advice Daily, and on TikTok as well. But most people will probably like YouTube is the best for content wise.
All right.
So yeah, that's.
Well, I thank you so much for being on this. I've learned so much. I think the guys who are listening have learned so much. I think that, everyone's going to get a lot out of this. I appreciate you. We'll have all the links. We'll have all the everything in the show notes. If you can leave them with one tip, what would that be? Last tip.
See it as a process, just like fitness. Try to make your gains, try to make your reps, do all the things that you would do for fitness. Also realize that you kind of need to do those things as well for dating profiles. You need to spend the hours on swiping, matching, texting, and on your profile.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Koen, for being on this show. And we'll see you next time. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and talk to you soon. Get it done.